All right, in this episode we've got a lot of like random things kind of happening. You could see we've got the foam ready, so we're going to show you how we did that, and we did seal, and we're going to take you through all the steps that we got to from this point, and in preparation for doing the top deck. All right, so check it out. According to my sources, we want this turn fin to be dead nuts flat with the body of the boat. So I've gone ahead and zeroed that out, and move this okay, and I just have that one single, and I've got a braid. No! I've got a braided bit on the bottom mark, on the bottom hole, and man, like truly, if like if I breathe on this, it adjusts. So, and there's also I'm not sure if you can see it, but we want the outer edge right on the outer edge of the hole of the sponson. Okay, so we're down a little bit. Oh wow, right there. Oh. How could it be so easy? I'm going to drill the bottom hole, remeasure, confirm the top hole, hit. Then this braided one is so this first drill is a 3/16. Next, for the blind nut, considering the gap, the dimension of the wall thickness of the blind nut itself, you need a quarter drill bit. So I have those two prepared. So let me get ready with my drill, and I'll be right back. All right, I've got this on here too as a way of ensuring the right dimension. The thinking with that big honky 1/4 inch drill bit, how do I know that blind nut hole is going to be right and straight? So I clamped it to a joist. I've got this, which I think is close enough for government, and I'm gonna drill it this way. So just another option. Where's my guy? All right, and then also you're gonna say, well, geez, what about that stringer on the bottom? How's that gonna fit? And I'm gonna show you. It's actually gonna help keep the blind nut in place. And if we need to, we're gonna modify the blind nut. All right, are you still on? All right, let me take this down. Okay, I made a notch on this crack. I just put in a vise, just notched it out a little bit further, just for a little bit of convincing. Oh, geez, you couldn't even freaking see it. Geez, sorry. All right, so we marked it in. I marked it on the bottom, and put it in, and now I'm gonna squeeze it in. I'm gonna put fiberglass around this so these don't fall out. Added a little bit of matted fiberglass to the epoxy, backing up the blind nuts here in the turn fin, and then the 4 engine mounts. So not a lot, but enough. And I like really try to like pack it into the teeth, and so hopefully that'll hold those, keep those in. I mean, I cranked them down. Got them seated, but just an extra little bit of insurance. So, all right, I'm at the point now where I believe I'm ready for sealing the inside of the entire boat. We've got the turn fin on, the turn fin mount secured, and I've got the blind nuts for the engine mounts. I've got the pine block on the nose. I'm also, after I seal the inside, I'm going to be finalizing I got actually a piece of mahogany for the nose and the two side pieces on the front of the boat, and so I'm going to be working on getting that laid out. So I think I'm ready. The decision that I was battling with was, should I sand and prep for the top of the skins, the deck first, or and then seal? But then I said, well, geez, if I do that and I get epoxy, I think it's 6 or half dozen of the other. Some guys may tape off the top face. I'm not planning on doing that because I'm gonna have to sand. I'm gonna have to sand anyway, and I'm thinking that that's gonna be. Alright, so I was originally going to seal first and then sand the top to prepare for the top deck. I think I'm going to flip that. I think I want to sand first and then seal. After sealing, I am going to run 2-part foam. I ran it on the SS. I didn't have any issues with it. I'm going to plan on an extended period of time for it to cure. I've run a few tests in like a red Solo cup on the reaction and the amount and everything. So my plan is to run on an inside bead. So if I do put a drain in the corner, I want the 2-part epoxy to fill in and allow a drain path, if I tip the boat up on its end, to come out. And so I'm planning on doing some on the main sponson, the step up feature right here, and then likely in the teardrop and this section, because most of my two servos, I am going to use like the traditional radio box, and I'm not going to put anything, I'm not mounting any radio components in the sidewall, I don't believe. I'm not going to run any foam on the sides back here because, well, I don't want to see it. And number two, I'm going to run a cooling line. And so that's my plan. So I'm going to sand to prepare for the deck. I'm also going to be finishing up the nose. I bought some mahogany material, mahogany wood, and I'm going to shape that. That's probably going to take a while. So that's what I'm planning on doing. Hey, so just wanted to share, I don't know if I showed this to you in a previous video, but I have these angle iron pieces, and I've got some 80 grit on here. It's a really nice way to get a nice clean edge on while you're sanding in preparation for the top deck. Any like tight space, it's kind of a nice way. You are getting a little bit of an edge, but that edge is no thicker than the thickness of your sheet, and so I believe that's inconsequential, because like my sanding block, if I'm using this, it's going to scrape the whole edge of this. So this has been kind of a nice feature as I prep the boat. So I just wanted to point that out as a possible idea. I don't know if there's a better option out there. All right, more to come. All right, I've sanded the top, and I don't know if you could tell, but I certainly can. It's all bright. It's very bright because he sanded off all the laser burn. Wow, it looks like a nice clean boat. All right, so I think we're at the point now where we're going to seal, and I'm going to use the West Systems 206 slow hardener and the 105 resin. And I've got my hard to reach brush, my normal brush, and my fat brush. I'm going to try this. I've not tried it yet. And then I'm going to do a dilution with denatured alcohol of, I think, about 10%. And I'm going to see how far that gets me. What am I not doing? I'm not doing the underside of the top decks yet. I'm not doing that. So without further ado, I'm going to get that ready, and I'll be back. Stay tuned. All right, so we've got the two parts. One part, one pump, one part 206. And we got about 50 milliliters in here, so I'm going to add probably about 25. Stir that up. Not sure if you can see, but we have a little drip. 1, 2. I think we can actually go even thinner. I think you almost want like water dripping, but yeah, that's faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then off we go. All right, so I did take the recommendation of Scott. I mean, he's a brilliant guy, and so I'm taping off the edges that are going to be contacting. It's just going to save you time when you don't have to worry about sanding those back down because you got epoxy on them, and so that's a good tip. So I'm going through. I'm using this big old brush for the big tubs, and then I'm going to go back, soak things up, and then get into the I'll call it the buttresses on the side, and get those in. Excuse me. Yeah, man. Definitely missed some spots over here. Just thinking about the next steps, you know, if you've been watching, you know, I am gonna do 2-part foam, and so the next step is going to be laying that in before I put the deck on, and shove it way under that 22. And remember, if you saw in an earlier video, when we were assembling this, we did a pre-soak on 22, this horizontal piece. So be sure to go check that, and be sure to seal before you assemble those hard to reach spots. Get it, soak on in there. Now this, we did not seal. This underside, we sealed the underside of this. Go back and watch that video. We sealed this underside, but not this underside, which is this right here. So be sure to do that. Nor do we seal the sidewall right here. And I'm going to need the other piece again. Yeah. Alright, I'm going through. This tape is falling off. I think I might have like pulled a little bit too tight, like, because it's stretchy tape. So when you're pulling it, just don't pull too tight, because it will not. Don't pull too tight because it's not going to stick. Sorry about that. I had to take a call for work, and I was able to come back down, and this is still in very fluid, workable condition. So that's cool. Also, just again want to stress, there's just a ton of nooks and crannies. So really take your time making sure that you hit every face, every cutout, notch, because there's a ton of faces that you can forget about or miss on this boat. All your doublers, you got to do the doublers, because the bottom, if you recall, when I put this on, go back and watch that video. When I put the bottom sheet on, I had sealed certain sections already per the instructions, but not all of them. So see, like these upside down doublers, your bent piece is perfect for this. to get the doubler in its entirety on the exposed faces. Whew, man, oh man. Here we go. So, let's see. It is about 3 hours later, but I had some interruptions. 12:30, 45-minute interruption. Yeah, I would say it took me about 2 hours for this. You could see the tape. I had a hard time keeping the tape on. I don't know if it's just lousy Amazon tape or what. I'm really glad this is done and cooking. This is gonna cure for another 24 hours. I had to make a little adjustment. What else did I want to do today? I want to start shaping the mahogany, which I didn't get to. So tonight or soon I will do that. I think I might, because this stuff is just kind of hanging out there. I think I might rip it off because, well, I don't want it to get stuck to it. I'm sure I'm going to have to just lightly sand the top edge a little bit. And so, next steps. Let's cut that part out. Yeah, it looks really happy with it. Stay tuned for more updates. Go back and watch if you didn't see another part that I mentioned earlier. Thanks for watching. All right, just to give you an update. I finally have the pine block in a state that I am somewhat proud of. So, I had a hard time gluing this actually. If you'll recall the template is used to form this outer shape. You secure the bottom sheet, then you remove that template, and I did that, and then I glued this block on, and there was like a gap here or here, and it didn't fit, it didn't hold, so I had to redo it. So I just sanded this to a nice flush finish. I'm gonna work on the notch here for the lip of the fiberglass cowl, and then I'll work this in to again create like a holding point. This is mahogany, so I'm gonna do just a very simple mahogany edge, leading edge on the sides, and then I've got, this is like truly archaic, nothing fancy. This is the nose. This is a slightly elongated profile compared to what I think I'm gonna have for the two side pieces. These are just gonna be, I just found a radius from, you know, a socket head or something around the shop that was like, this isn't finished. This side looks a little bit better. So I have to work on that. But just mimicking a shape that I found. I think for this one, I think I actually did the skinnier piece, and then I just found the center of this edge of the one side, and I did it up to the tangent, and then I drew a straight line. Just to give me a ballpark. The good news is with sanding, you sand sand a little bit off, look at it, adjust. So really nothing fancy there. So that's what I'm working on right now. So I'm going to finish this up. I want to get these on. Oh, because you're not on the outer sides, do not put this outside edge, this outside leading edge on until this top sheet is on there, because there's a thickness from, like, you can see the thickness of the bottom sheet. So you don't want to do that. Don't put this on until, you could do the front nose, but don't put this one on until the sheet is on. The sheet is on. Okay. That's it. More to come. Coming up. Alright, I have a confession. This isn't my first one. I was starting to cut this out. This looks a little bit too long though, don't it? So we got this one. Alright, we got some hardware getting fit up. Wow. Alright, so I'm doing some planning here, and I need your input because, well, number one, cooling. I am going to be, I'm thinking about running this line right here. Okay. I'm going to have the exhaust manifold, the two outlets on the forward side, and so it's going to come down, it's going to loop on the bottom, and it's going to come out the top. And I think having this right here is not going to make a weird, awkward angle. I can make it shallower like this, but then it's going to be like really hard to get into. Then you start hitting interferences with the pipe. I mean, it's way down there, but still, just the engine itself. Originally I thought like way back here, but I don't know if I want to do that. So there's that I have to make a decision on. And then the pipe, so I've got here's my question. The mount for the tail end, for the Stinger, right? I see a lot of guys mounting it right on the deck, but isn't the deck like 1/16 inch? Do you reinforce that? Right, like it's gonna be like right around here. It's gonna be hard to get a finger in here to squeeze in. I just don't know how you guys are doing that. So that's another question I got to figure out. And I'm really just I'm procrastinating on putting the foam in just to make sure that I'm ready for it, because there's like really no going back. Okay, so we've got about 45 seconds before it starts foaming. I did a little bit more than I did on the test run, and that's okay. So again, what I'm going through in my head is like my pour how much I'm pouring. It's been about 25 seconds. So keep stirring. And again, I kind of wanted it slanted like that, so any water, and I sealed everything, so you know what? And if I mess something up, I'll just have to build another one. All right, that's looking pretty good. I might have to smooth a little bit of that out with the deck coming down, but I probably, I think, well, it might have been Scott who said this, like, you pour foam up here to give it a little bit of strength, just the nose, just the front of the boat, which I like that idea. So if you are on Facebook, you may have seen my post. I ordered the wrong gizmo motor mounts. Rookie mistake, I guess. I wanted to get, this is my first gizmo engine. With all the boats, I think I've kind of picked up an engine from a different source just to, again, just kind of see what I like, notice any difference, just learning the hobby. So this is my first gizmo, and I bought a whole slew of stuff just to save on shipping with them, and they've been great. But I think I ordered the wrong, well, I did order the wrong engine mount. There's also a conversation about a drop mount, and I don't think I need it, but I'm trying to obviously line up these isolation blocks. So that's something else that I'm looking at. All right, coming back to the nose block. I'm really just working on, now I'm finessing. I'm still using 80 grit because I'm impatient. But I'm trying to really, continue this line and continue this line up. And so there was a little bit of a dip as the mahogany finished and connected to the boat. There was and that's just due to my sanding when it was independent. So I'm glad I put this on because I can really blend it in with the nose, because you have a little bit of thickness that you can sand off the nose and to help you blend it. At least that's what I'm doing. So I'm really liking how that's looking right now, for never having done this before. So all right, so in a few minutes ago I said I was thinking about putting the cooling line here, but I don't want to do that because when you put the deck on, it's right in this radius here, and well, I mean, I guess you could do it. I just don't want to because it's gonna be low. It's gonna be maybe a little bit harder to see. So what I've done was I mocked up a little support piece, and I'm gonna run it right behind the stern mount of the engine, and then I'm gonna run it right here. So when I put having that right there, it's going to be a little bit less. You're a little bit less likely to reach. If you're going to hold it, you're going to hold it right here. So I feel like that's a better spot. Yeah, I'll just show you this. So I just made a little piece here. I'm actually gonna. I figured I'm having it on the inside of the rail. I think I'm gonna glue it and then maybe tack it on the top side of this support. But I figured if I need, once the deck is on, if I need to repair this, pull it out, I'll be able to, and then hopefully re-glue it if I have to pull it out right here. And so point is I should be able to access it. I think a cool idea would be like on this corner, maybe even this corner, have the cooling line come vertical and just shoot up. But I don't. That's too difficult to draft up, so I'm not gonna do that. So I think this is a good spot, and I'm comparing other boats that I have. Having the cooling line, so I don't have the engine in there right now, but the cooling line coming off the exhaust manifold is like right there, so it's going to be like a short 2-inch line going over to like this little spot. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, we are at the point, we are finishing all the prep work needed to put the top deck on. So I'm going to, there's a few expanded foam pieces that blew off over the top here, so I'm gonna trim those down. You can see I got to do a couple final, I'm gonna once over on the top lines, and then I'm gonna prepare for putting the deck on. Don't worry, you're gonna be along for the ride on that one too. Man, this is really coming together. It's really coming together. So, and then we're going to do the final parts of the radio box. I did get a transparent red. My colors for this, maybe I'll flash up an image. Actually, if you have a custom RC decal vendor that you know of, that I've got a custom, I'm doing like a scorpion. I'm doing a red and gold, and I'll probably keep a portion of the deck, just a wood finish, but I'm doing a red and gold color design, and I've got like this scorpion I drafted up because I think this boat looks like a scorpion, and it's pretty, I feel like it looks pretty badass. I'll show you a picture. If anybody has a vendor, I'm like on Etsy right now, shooting, RFQs out. So I'm trying to see if I can get one. So I'm going to put that probably over there. I don't know what the cowl is going to look like yet either. So yeah, man, I love talking about this stuff because that means we're getting near the end. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. If you want to see something, how we did it earlier in an earlier build or earlier video, by all means, snoop around and ask any questions. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you later.